Well, good morning and welcome to the Morning Report. My name is Willie Lawson. I trust that you are well this wonderful, wonderful day. The Morning Report is a production of fightbackmedia.com, 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 and fightbackmediatv.com. We are thrilled to have you here with us today. Going to be a little longer than normal, but not too bad, I promise. Some things that I thought were interesting, almost kind of funny. Uh, you guys remember Festivus, right? Festivus was sort of a brainchild of the show Seinfeld. It was a not an alternative to Christmas, but George Costanza's father uh, said they invented this holiday after he had a particularly horrible Christmas called Festivus. And one of the things about Festivus is the airing of grievances. A Festivus for the rest of us. Senator Rand Paul, Republican from Kentucky, is airing his grievances for 2023, celebrating Festivus, an ode to a classic episode of Seinfeld. Um, Paul released his annual report that included Barbie doll pictures, Anthony Fauci, and being gaslit by the Biden administration. So he says this: when your job is in Congress, you have a lot of people you can have grievances with. It's almost too many to think about. So most of the year, I just don't do it. He wrote that on X. On Saturday's editions of Festivus, the Republicans focused on mass spending by the federal government that has Americans living paycheck to paycheck, while billions were sent to Ukraine and other foreign countries. Examples of who is profiting off these massive payouts include $477,122 for Fauci's transgender monkey study. I wish I was kidding. Oh, and 38 million for the government to pay dead people. Oh yeah, big oops, whoopsie, improper federal payments totaling $236 billion, which part of that is the $38 million paid out to people who are dead. Um, Paul also took a jab at the Biden family, posting a photo of a children's book entitled Hookers and Blow. President Joe Biden's son Hunter, Biden is known for spending his daddy's money on prostitutes while snorting cocaine in the West Wing of the White House. Now we all know that was Hunter's blow, right? Everybody knows that. I mean, they said they couldn't find out who it belonged to. You and I damn well know that that was Hunter's blow. Um, the senator used a graphic to show how much prices, such as grocery and baby items, have skyrocketed since Biden took office. He offered a grim look into the future if the U.S., if Democrats continue to reign in D.C., saying there will be no change in course. Um, if I can remember to put this graphic up, I'll be doing really good. But I'll tell you what it says: changes in percentage of cost since January of 2021. Flowers up, all these are up 35%. Baby food and formula up 28.9%. Bread 26.1%. Frozen fruits and vegetables up 25.6%. Poultry up 25.4%. Ground beef 24.2%. Dairy 23.6%, lunch meats, 23.2%, soups, 21%. And these are not like go to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's. These are staples. That's the thing about these things that I mentioned: flour, baby food, bread, frozen fruits and vegetables, chicken, ground beef, dairy, lunch meats, soups. These are staples. These are the foods that people have to, who are just getting by, to sort of spread, out the dollar. My wife does a channel called Deb's Life 64, and she does grocery hauls. And you can hear her talk about the very same things, that just staples have increased this amount since January of 2021. And this administration is saying, not my fault. Blame the grocery stores. Blame the people who make the bread. Festivus for the rest of us. Oh, sorry. I was charging my phone and it fell. Sorry. I stepped on the cord and it fell. Hopefully it'll get charged. Okay, fine. All right. Is this a win for Trump? Jack Smith was trying to get the Supreme Court of the United States to expedite the case talking about Trump's immunity because of being president. So last week, Special Counsel Jack Smith made a rather large request of the U.S. Supreme Court as he asked justices to rule on whether former and potentially future President Donald Trump has immunity. While the court agreed to grant an expedited review of the cert petition, an announcement came on Friday that the court would not be taking up the case. It was rather curious request from Smith, who was looking to bypass the appeals court, given that the court is still considering a motion from Trump to dismiss the case. Attorney Alan Dershowitz was spoken out against Smith bringing such indictments, recently highlighted how particularly absurd the request was. Dershowitz told Fox Business last week that it was remarkable that someone like Smith would appeal a win, noting he won the issue about immunity, and then he appealed his win. As the New York Times noted, though, the court could still end up with the case months down the road. The case will move forward in the appeals court and most likely return to the Supreme Court in coming months, a report on the news about the court's decision mentioned. The report also noted that the move was a victory for Trump. Emphasis is original. Here's what it says. The decision to defer consideration of a central issue in the case was a major practical victory for Mr. Trump, whose lawyers have consistently sought to delay criminal cases against him around the country. Mr. Trump's lawyers took the opposite view, asking that justices follow the usual procedure by letting the appeals court consider the matters first. Importance doesn't automatically necessitate speed, Mr. Trump's brief said. If anything, the opposite is usually true. Novel, complex, sensitive, and historic issues, such as the existence of presidential immunity from criminal prosecution for official acts, call for a more careful deliberation, not less. Mr. Trump's lawyers countered that the case and the desire to resolve it promptly was driven by political considerations. He considers public interest with a manifest partisan interest in ensuring that President Trump will be subjected to a months-long criminal trial at the height of the presidential campaign, where he and the leading candidate and the only serious opponent of the current administration. That's the idea. They're trying to make this so this ends up being right at the general election, if indeed Trump is the nominee. Still, Trump may not be the nominee. May not be. I know that doesn't make a lot of my viewers happy, but he may not be. Let's just say what it is. While Jack Smith tried to rush through such cases, Trump's legal team has sought delays. The trial against of the case against Trump to do with his actions on and leading up to January 6th, and the 2020 elections were scheduled to take place on March 4th, the night before Super Tuesday. Interesting. This case against Trump has been condemned as the weaponization and the politicization of the federal government, specifically the Department of Justice under Joe Biden. The indictments are thus seen as an election interference, that, with Trump being considered the front runner to face Biden in November. Okay, we're just going to go with that. which would make the 2024 presidential election a rematch of 2020. Real Clear polling currently has Trump up with a lead of 2.3% against Biden in that hypothetical matchup. It's not merely Trump supporters expressing concerns, though. His primary challenges have taken issues with such politicization, as has Dershowitz, who condemned the political weaponization of the criminal justice system. While speaking to Fox News, Dershowitz is a Democrat who has voted against Trump and is looking forward to being able to do so again, but has nevertheless defended him. We did a story a little bit ago when we introduced all this nonsense that even Ron DeSantis has come out and said what's happening here, especially what's happening in Colorado, is awful. Even Gavin Newsom has made the point that removing Trump from the ballot and moving all this stuff forward is not what democracy is all about. Gavin Newsom basically said that, you know what, we'll just defeat him at the ballot box. This idea that doing all these things to make sure that he can't run or can't run effectively is not what democracy is. It's actually the opposite of democracy. So when Jack Smith and Democrats and leftists say that Trump is a danger to the democracy, no, they're a danger to democracy. They're a danger to a representative republic. They're manipulating who you vote for. They're manipulating your choices. Now, as I said before, it is the Republican Party that will decide their nominee. The primaries are just big polls who, so they can elect delegates, so they can send delegates to the convention to do what? Decide on a nominee. Those delegates can still pick whomever they want. They still can. They don't often, but they still can. So it's the convention that will choose the nominee, not a culmination of primary wins necessarily. Just want to make sure that that's clear. All right, we'll take a little break. We'll be back right after this.
What's going on, Tampa? Jeff Dow from JD's Pressure Washing here again, and we wanted to share something really cool with you that we're going to be doing that you can be a part of. Tampa is home to 21,000 veterans. We all love our vets, and being one myself, we wanted to find a way that we could give back. So here's what we're going to do. For every 10 jobs that we do that are $300 or more, we're going to do one veteran home for free. Now, when I say home, we're talking house wash, driveway, sidewalks, and perimeter fence if they have one. So I need your help with exposure on this so that we can get the jobs that we need as well as the veteran homes to clean, which is going to be a total surprise for them. We're going to show up, knock on the door, and let them know right then and there in the moment what it is that we're going to be doing for them. It is going to be pretty cool. And here's a bonus offer for all of you who help us with this. We're also going to offer 15% off all cleaning that's over $300 just to say thanks. So if you could do me a huge favor, like, comment, and share this video so that we can get the word out and start cleaning homes of veterans right here in Tampa.
All right, welcome back. You might remember a dirtbag by the name of Robert Card. He murdered 18 people on October 25th in Lewiston, Maine. He attacked a bowling alley and a restaurant during his senseless rampage. He vanished hours later, but was later discovered having killed himself from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Card had a history of severe mental illness, which led to a 2-week stint in a mental health clinic last summer. He said he was hearing voices and threatened to attack a local National Guard armory near Saco. He was reportedly a 20-year Army veteran and a trained firearm instructor. New details shed more light on how this shooting was tragically preventable and why police were hesitant to confront Card despite all of the red flags staring them in the face. This is from the AP. Okay. Police who declined to confront an Army reservist in the weeks before he killed 18 people in Maine's deadliest mass shooting feared that doing so would, quote, throw a stick of dynamite on a pool of gas, according to a video released Friday by law enforcement. The video was released to the Portland Press Herald and then sent to the Associated Press. Comments of a September 16th call between the Sagadag, I don't know how to pronounce this word, Sagadaghawk, one of those weird counties up there in Maine, County Sheriff Sergeant Aaron Schofield and Army Reserve Captain Jeremy Reamer. Schofield was following up with Reamer about a potential threat posed by Robert Card, who carried out of course, the October 25th attacks at a bowling alley and a restaurant. He was found dead 2 days later because he shot himself. Military officials alerted police in September that Card had been hospitalized in July after exhibiting erratic behavior while training, that he still had access to weapons, and that he had threatened to shoot up, quote, end quote, an Army Reserve Center in Saco, a city in southern Maine. The Sheriff's Department responded by briefly staking out the Saco facility and going to Card's home in Bodewin for what Reamer described as a, quote, welfare check, end quote. Schofield mentioned that Maine's yellow flag law, which can be used to remove guns from potentially dangerous people, after Reamer and Card had refused after Reamer said Card had refused medical treatment after his hospitalization. So that obviously is a hurdle that we have to deal with. But at the same time, we don't want to throw a stick of dynamite on a pool of gas either, making things worse. Reamer expressed similar concerns. I'm a cop myself, he said. Obviously, I don't want you guys to get hurt or do anything that will put you guys in a compromising position. So police were, for lack of better terms, afraid to confront Card. In July, the Army deemed him unfit to own firearms. So this is why this story got snuffed out of the news cycle, because there were laws already on the books that could have stopped the killing. Really all about how they were not enforced. So do we need more laws to make it more difficult for me or more difficult for you? Obviously not. They have all the laws. They have all the laws they could possibly need. In this particular case, none of them made a doggone bit of difference. None of it. All right, it is this. I'm doing this video on Saturday night. Kind of a weird day to be doing this, but this matters because tomorrow is Sunday. There is a bill in New York that is set to make Chick-fil-A open on Sunday. And you're thinking, why? Well, you know why. Here's the story. Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina, who knows, and I don't know which Lindsey Graham we're talking about here, promises war if New York passes a bill forcing Chick-fil-A to stay open on Sundays. This week, Graham said he would withhold federal funding from any city or state government that enforces the proposed bill on the popular fast food place. Last week, a bill was filed in the New York State Assembly that will require some Chick-fil-A locations to operate every day of the week, despite the restaurant's long-standing policy to keep its doors closed on Sundays for religious reasons. This is war, Graham wrote on X. If this goes forward, I will be introducing legislation withholding federal funds from any city or state that requires Chick-fil-A to stay open on Sunday. New York is off base, and their actions will not go unanswered. Here's how the bill reads. So you will know. While there is nothing objectionable about a fast food restaurant closing on a particular day of the week, Service areas dedicated to travelers is an inappropriate location for such a restaurant. Publicly owned service areas should use their space to maximally benefit the public. Allowing for retail space to go unused 1/7 of the week is more a disservice and unnecessary inconvenience to travelers who rely on these service areas. Now, this has to do with the New York State Thruway Authority. Back the beginning of last month, guys might know I had a friend pass away, and we went south into South Florida for their funeral down the Florida Turnpike. And this is not, and I didn't know this. I've been to rest stops, but they have these rest stops that are in the middle. Like they have South Lane and North Lane, and the whole rest stops in the middle. And they have like a big gas station and 1,000 pumps, and of course a mall like area where you get food and that kind of thing. And I'm sure the New York Thruway is a lot like that. Now, if you have a Chick-fil-A in that place where you can get food, and they're closed on Sunday because they close on Sunday, and who doesn't know that Chick-fil-A closes on Sunday? No one's surprised. Oh, there's a Chick-fil-A there. Oh, it's Sunday. Why? Because that's what they do. Like and in all these malls. I mean, Chick-fil-A did a great job of inculcating themselves in all these malls. When you sign a lease in a mall, you say that you're going to be open. You agree to the days and times you're going to be open. When I was younger, I worked at a Radio Shack store, and it was important that we opened on time. We had to open at 10 o'clock for sure, or we'd be fined because we will be breaking our lease. And that's why you can't stay open. If you have a store in a mall, that store, they sort of bum rush you out of there. If they close at 9, at 8:45, they're pulling stuff in, they're pulling the gate down. And it isn't to be rude but it's to be in compliance with their lease agreement. For the tenant, because at 9 o'clock they have to be closed. At 10 o'clock, if they're open, if the mall's open late for Christmas, then they can stay open until 10 o'clock. They just can't be there all night for you. It's part of their lease agreement, and that's what it was with Chick-fil-A as well. In their lease agreement, they knew that they weren't going to be there on Sunday, and the mall signed off on it. That was their agreement. That's all there is to it, and they didn't have to make the same agreement with everybody. So it's my thought that the New York State Authority, Thruway Authority, made the deal to get Chick-fil-A in the building. And now they know that they can't renege on that lease agreement. So what they're trying to do is do the go around through the state legislature to force them to be open. And you would think, well, why? You know why? It's the very reason that they're closed. The original reason was to give their employees an opportunity to be with their families and to attend church. Chick-fil-A does well enough on the other 6 days to not only pay the lease agreement, but be one of the more profitable fast food chains in the history of America. There's no other reason. People may be disappointed that the Chick-fil-A isn't open. They may be, but everyone understands. Now, is this something that, are there more important things going on? Yes. Yes, but Tony Simone, a Democrat from New York, who introduced the bill, defended his proposal, claiming that New Yorkers should be able to choose from any restaurant they desire all the time. Really? Really, Tony? No. Can't choose that one. They're closed on Sunday. And I didn't get any Chick-fil-A today. Guess I'll have to wait until Tuesday. All right. We got to get out of here, make room for somebody else. So until we see you again, Merry Christmas. Christmas is on Monday. We will not have a morning report on Monday, obviously. But a Merry Christmas. And we will see you on Tuesday or Wednesday, hopefully. For those of you who are concerned, I am feeling better. I am getting stronger every day. It's like a Chicago song. I'm getting stronger every day. I went to work at my second job at the Gardens today, and came back, felt really good. Watched a lot of college football today. Oh my goodness. Um, yeah. So again, until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you. Bye bye now.